To be honest with all of you, I was not expecting that so many of you will survive post-lunch, right? So thank you very much for staying back, and thank you very much for choosing this session. Welcome you all once again. We are going to talk about collaborative funding. SAFe CoFund stands for collaborative funding. Now, I heard some of the speakers in the morning, whether it was Yagna in the other room, or Richa, or Suvarna. They asked you questions. How many of you are Scrum Masters? How many of you are product owners? How many of you, what are the roles that you are playing? I want to ask you one simple question. How many of you have heard about Scaled Agile or are certified in Scaled Agile? Any certification? If yes, please raise your hand. Very few. Because there are going to be a lot of terminologies in this presentation, and I wanted to make sure that you understand all those terminologies. I'm starting my timer, 30 minutes is what they have given me. I plan to finish in 28 minutes. Let's see from now on. Okay? So, you want me to finish right now? Okay. So I'm already been introduced. My name is Amit Kaulagekar, and I am from India. I work with Scaled Agile as a strategic advisor, and we are going to talk about SAFe CoFund. But before that, next 10 minutes, some context setting. Why we have come up with this collaborative funding tool, at what level this tool works, and how it is going to help all of you. That's what we are going to talk about. I happened to be in Nepal, a day before, and yesterday we met almost 3 or 4 different enterprises. And one common theme that I heard yesterday, I know many of you are not going to agree with me, but I met with the executives of these enterprises, and what they told us or what they asked us about was either project management or capability maturity model. And I was really surprised. I stopped working with PMI or capability maturity model in 2009. You can make it out. I'm an old guy, right? So it's really surprising that there are enterprises in the world. So there's some part of the world who has gone ahead in Agile. They are using different frameworks, different methodologies from Agile, whether it is Scrum, Kanban, extreme programming practices, less, whichever framework that you're talking about, and even Scaled Agile for that matter. And then there are enterprises who are still talking about project management and capability maturity model. So in this presentation, my focus is going to be on scaling Agile. We have introduced frameworks or methodologies at the team level. We have been doing Agile for some time. We have moved from delivering projects to continuous and incremental delivery. We have done that. Now we want to scale Agile at the enterprise level. We want to focus on outcomes with better responsiveness and adaptability. We want to move towards business agility. And if that's the case, if you are moving from funding projects to iterative and incremental delivery, which is continuous delivery, you need to change your funding model as well. Because when you go for iterative and incremental delivery, you get feedback from your customers. They tell you what you have developed, whether they like it or they don't like it. They want you to change the course of action, or they want you to continue working on the same thing. Now, when you go for projectized funding, and those of you who are familiar with PMI and the project management life cycle, we initiate the project, we get people together, and we fund the project. So our money is blocked. When do we see the value coming out of that project? Only at the end of the project, when the project is complete. Till then, we are living in an assumption that the project is on course and it is going to deliver the value that I'm expecting. It may or may not meet my expectations. The moment the project starts, we have started incurring the cost. Correct? Now, am I going to get the returns for the money that I'm spending? And is it going to meet my expectations? That's something that I'm not aware of, right? So that's the reason we decided to switch to agile ways of working, wherein we started talking about iterative and incremental delivery. Feedback every 15 days. Whatever we have developed, we get feedback from the customer every 15 days, every 2 months, if you are doing scaled agile. Now, based on the feedback, we decide whether to continue working on these features or epics or capabilities, or to change or to reprioritize our work. If we are reprioritizing our work, imagine a scenario where you are in the middle of a project and you realize that this is not what my customer wants, but you have already committed the funds. Now, if you want to stop working on that particular project, what you need to do is you have to go back to change control board. You have to get their approvals. You have to release your team members. You have to get new team members. Pretty long cycle, takes a lot of time. And by the time you actually deliver the features that you're working on, it might have lost its value. So what we did at Scaled Agile is we started prioritizing business agility. And I gave you the definition of business agility on the first slide, which says ability to compete and thrive in the digital age by quickly responding to market changes with innovative and market changes and emerging opportunities with innovative digitally enabled solutions, right? And we made it a goal. If you look at Scaled Agile Framework, if you go to scaledagileparamework.com, we have this as a goal mentioned at the top of the framework. You will see it at the top, business agility. And to achieve business agility, what we have done is we have come up with 7 core competencies. We call these competencies as the 7 core competencies of business agility. Now that's what we recommend enterprises to practice to achieve business agility. Now, when you start implementing scaled agile, usually you start at essential SAFe level, wherein you bring multiple agile teams together, and for that particular agile release train, most of the times the funding is from the existing projects. You will take those projects and ask the agile release train to work on those projects. That's the trend that we have seen. And whatever number of enterprises that I have visited in last 1.5 years, that's what people usually talk about. That is where we usually start. But then we want to move to portfolio SAFe. As you mature, you start moving towards portfolio SAFe. And this is where your funding cycle starts changing. Rather than going for annual funding of your projects, usually the budgeting starts in July, August. By November, the budgets are finalized. You submit it for approval. Approvals are provided in the month of January, and you decide your funding for the next year. Familiar with this cycle? Yes, no? Right? What we are doing now is we are changing the way of working. We are adopting agile. We are going for continuous and incremental delivery. We are working on feedback. Now, if you want to change something, am I expected to wait for my next budget cycle to come and get funding approval in next January? Or can I change the way I'm doing funding now? So from annual budgeting and funding, can I move to continuous funding? And that is where we talked about lean budgeting at the portfolio level. So lean budgeting is something where we talk about a financial governance approach that funds value streams instead of projects. We stop funding projects. We start funding value streams in accelerating value delivery and reducing the overhead and cost associated with traditional project cost accounting. And participatory budgeting is a tool or collaborative process for allocating the portfolio budget to its value streams. We have moved towards, or we are moving towards continuous funding now. How do we do that? That's something that we are going to talk about in some time. So these are some of the disadvantages of projectized funding. And I'm not going to go into the details of it. Some of you are taking pictures. This is available on Scaled Agile Framework website as well, where, because the unit here, we are talking about project as a unit, right? We are moving people to the project. That's not what we want to do. So what we are focused on is this part. Value decays over time. You still have these televisions? Yes, no? No, right? Exactly. We have smart televisions. So as you are in the middle of a, does it have a pointer? The first one? Yeah. Yeah, so if you see that red dot at the top, that's where you realize that your customers want you to focus more on project A than project B. Now, how do you change the direction? How do you get approval for new, these new features? And how do you divert your funds? That's something that we are interested in. So you didn't think of everything, customer changed their minds. Absolutely. We as customers also, like we know more than, the manufacturers of the products. Now, how do we go about this? So we are talking about a shift, big shift in the mindset, shift in commitment. We are focusing on funding value streams. We are organizing our teams around the flow of value, and we are also changing our funding to those value streams. Then what is required? It requires education. We need to understand how this whole mechanism works. So we go through the training. We understand what is portfolio management, and what is lean budgeting, what are the guardrails that we need to have, and there are multiple guardrails that we introduce as part of lean budgeting. That means we have to make sure that whatever funds that we are providing to these value streams, they are generating the value that is meeting my expectations. So how do I do that? So I'm not only talking about the education part. I'll probably get down from the stage. It's easier for me to look at the slide and talk about some of the squares or boxes there. So when we are talking about education, we learn the skills. Then we look at the roadmaps. So we understand the product roadmap. What are the features and epics that are planned when they are supposed to be delivered? Now, who is going to work on developing and delivering these features and epics? My agile release trains. These agile release trains together are part of my development value stream. And these development value streams are getting funded. Now, whatever funds that I'm making available to my agile release train for a quarter, that is 3 months, how do I ensure that they are delivering value for the money that I'm investing? So SAFe also provides a mechanism for that. And you see the system demos and PI system demos. So every 15 days, all the agile teams together are coming up with system demos. They are showcasing the value that they have created. So these are the funds that I have invested. This is what I have got. Is it something that I was expecting? Yes? Okay, go ahead. No? Change the course of action, because my money is important. Like, we know that funds are limited. And there are a lot of expectations, and we can't meet all the expectations. So I have to ensure that the funds are utilized properly, right? So it is not only about learning, but the entire mechanism. So we provide education, we give you an understanding about roadmap, you ensure that the money that you have invested is getting utilized properly with the help of those metrics. We have 3 different areas wherein we talk about metrics. So we have flow metrics, we have outcomes, we have competencies, assessments. In all these areas, we make sure that the funds are getting utilized properly, right? So, and these are the guardrails that we have introduced to make sure that the funds are getting utilized properly. Now, guiding investment by horizons, now each of my product is not going to be at the same level. Some products may be emerging, some are the products wherein I have invested a lot of money and I want to make sure that they become my cash cows eventually. So which horizons my products are in, and accordingly funding those products. So we talk about different horizons, horizon 3, horizon 2, horizon 1 and horizon 0. Horizon 0 are those products which are retiring. We no longer need those products, right? And then we have capacity allocation, we have continuous business owner engagement as some of the guardrails. I will not go into the details of it, taking time factor into consideration. So now we have moved towards continuous funding to support continuous delivery. That's what we have done. We were having that projectized mindset where we were funding projects. We decided to adopt Agile. We started with some frameworks at the team level. Then we decided to scale it, bringing multiple teams together, where Agile release trains, eventually portfolio, funding value streams, and then creating a mechanism to make sure that whatever funds that I am making available to my Agile release trains, they are delivering value against that money. That's the cycle that I have created. And this is where now participatory budgeting or collaborative funding, SAFe CoFund, comes into picture. We started talking about participatory budgeting a while ago, almost like 5 years back, 4 or 5 years back. And at that time, it was a manual event. So it requires a lot of preparation. When we have the participatory budgeting forum, we have current value stream budgets, then these people come together. If you see the group of people at the center of this slide, so people come together and they decide how do we want to reallocate our funds. And accordingly, my value stream budgets are changed. So this is current value stream budget and new value stream budget. What are the factors that I'm taking into consideration? I'm looking at the business context. I'm looking at the total portfolio budget. I'm looking at those features and epics that are going to help me run the business. I need some money to run the business, right? So I need to fund those initiatives. And I'm also investing in those initiatives which are going to help me grow my business. All of it coming together, participatory budgeting, funds getting reallocated, and I get new budget, new value stream budget. Now this is a tedious task, right? I need to make sure what are the features and epics that I need to fund. So I need to create the list. I need to map it with my strategic themes. What is it that my enterprise wants to achieve? Then I have to map it with my solutions. Which solution is in which horizon? I have to capture all these details. Then I have to invite people like from different value streams. I have to make them familiar with all these details. Hey, you know what? This is where we have to invest money. What do you think is the most important thing? So we bring people together. We make them familiar with all these contents. Then they will vote. They will choose where to put our money. And then once they decide where to put the money, after that, we come up with the new allocation of funds. And this process, we have shifted to not annual budgeting cycle. This is like a quarterly process. Now, if annual budgeting cycle is so tedious and complex and takes so much time, imagine doing this quarterly or every 6 months. Now, why do you need to do it quarterly or every 6 months? Because you are receiving feedback. You are doing agile. You are receiving feedback from your customers. And based on your customers' feedback, you are changing the way you are working. You are reprioritizing your initiatives. And for that, you need to reprioritize your funding. It's a long process. Now, what is it that we can automate? As you can see here, we recommend that participatory budgeting can be done every 6 months or even quarterly. So I'm not going to read each of the bullet point. However, this is the process that I was talking about. So you prepare the content, you assemble the participants, we conduct the forum, analyze results, and your budgets are reallocated at the value stream level. Tedious process, what is it that we can automate? That's where SAFe collaborative funding came into picture. It's participatory budgeting. So that event, what you see here, the 4 bullet points, that event, how it can be supported, that's what we are talking about now. So now we are coming to the actual tool part. 10 minutes left, let's see. SAFe CoFund, which is easy to set up, easy to facilitate, easy to participate, all of this together, right? We make better investment decisions with the help of SAFe CoFund. We can analyze voting in real time. And this is the best part of it. Across, strategic themes, value streams, and different horizons and different products that you have, where the money is being put by different teams, that you can see real time, and you can accordingly talk to those respective teams about the funding part, right? And then it is about collaboration and inclusivity. So what we did is we ran this as a beta event. We started doing these labs, product labs with different people, and we got the feedback. Before we released CoFund to the larger audience, we ran a beta test, and we got the feedback. And this is what the users had to say about SAFe CoFund as a tool. Multiple product labs that we have run, but we didn't stop there. We also use SAFe CoFund as a tool in our lean portfolio management classes. And we got feedback from those classes as well. And these feedbacks are mentioned on this particular slide. And those words, some of the words are highlighted. I'm not going to read each of the bullet point, but who can have access to SAFe CoFund? Those of you who raised your hand that you are already SAFe certified or have some SAFe certification, you get access to SAFe CoFund right now at this moment. You already have access to SAFe CoFund. And you can try it out, test it out with your respective teams in your organization. Because you also get access to a demo event, which you can try out immediately. So, if you are a SAFe enterprise customer or if you are a partner, you can purchase SAFe CoFund licenses and you can try it out. If you do not want to pay money, then without paying money, who has got access to SAFe CoFund? So, pre-configured demo event, accessible by all SAFe Studio members, used for lean portfolio management class activity. Those who teach LPM class, they get access to this SAFe CoFund, and event data cannot be modified. One more thing to remember is anyone can join CoFund events by invitation. So if some of you decide that, Amit, we want to kind of experience SAFe CoFund, can you run a demo for us? Yes, I can run a demo for you. I can create a demo event. I can share the link with all of you. We can do it online. All of us can come together. 45 minutes, fun activity, and you get the taste of it. If there are 20 initiatives that we have to fund, where this table is going to put the money, where this table is going to put the money, where that table is going to put the money, what is important for which table? And then I get the result at the enterprise level. We get to see that. How? I'm going to show it to you. So, this is Welcome SAFe CoFund. I'm going to get out of this presentation now, and I'm going to the actual CoFund site. I know this is a little difficult to see. So there are multiple tabs. Overview. This is where you get to know the business context. If you look at the right-hand side there, you will see the total estimated cost of all the initiatives that you are going to, that requires funding, which is about 9.8 million. And what is the budget that I have? What do you see the number? 6 million. So can you fund all of the initiatives? Answer is no, we cannot. Now we need to prioritize. So how do we do that? Who is going to do that? We, the people, the participants are going to do that. How? So what happens is, as part of overview, you get to understand, you get to know the business context, you get to know the historical allocation of the portfolio targets, you also get to know the strategic themes of the enterprise. You can identify the participants. I'm going to the people tab, and this is where I can add participants for participatory budgeting. I can invite people to this forum. I can share the link with all of you. You can join, very easy, very intuitive. Then what we can do is we understand the event details, wherein we get to know what is the name of the event, then estimated budget, what is the currency in which the funds are available. Not just rupees or euros or US dollars. You can decide your currency in which you want to do or run this event. Then we are also looking at the funding cycle. We are again looking at strategic themes. We can add, remove strategic themes. We can add, remove item types as well. And then we look at the list of items that we have to fund. So this is the list of items that we are supposed to fund. So what is the estimated cost of each of the item? What is the type of that item? They are part of which value stream, which strategic theme, and which horizon. All these details are available to participants. And then we run the event, wherein you fund these initiatives, you fund these items. Now, when you are funding these items, what happens actually is I get to see the analysis of all these items. So, as you can see, how much fund is getting allocated to which item. As of now, I'm looking at percent of cost. But if I go and look at it and go for a chart view, this is what I get to see. This is like live. So you are funding, and as a facilitator of this event, as part of value management office running this event, you get to see which projects or which initiatives, project is the wrong word, but which features, which epics, which capabilities are getting funded. And accordingly, you can talk to your participants and make sure that funds are allocated properly. That's what this tool is all about. Now, if you are interested in knowing more about CoFund, or if you want to have a demo, or if you are interested in knowing about the pricing, because this is licensed tool. So if you are more interested in knowing about the pricing of this tool, my colleague is here with me, Sugam, who is India Country Manager for Scaled Agile. And you can talk to Sugam and get to know more details about the pricing part. But that's something that I wanted to share with all of you. So this is where I'm going to stop. And I'm left with 2 minutes and 16 seconds. And here it is 23. So going back to my PowerPoint presentation, that's my LinkedIn ID. Thank you very much for your 30 minutes or 28 minutes. Right? Any questions? I'm available. And for pricing, connect with Sugam. Thank you very much.